Hi, welcome everybody to this introductory episode of Healing Steps to Wellness. Um, my name is Mei, the founder of Lotus Health Foundation. Is a nonprofit arm of Rochester Clinic, a private practice, and our mission is to promote lifestyle medicine. Means that the whole person approach healthy lifestyle to the public. And it is today is a very special day because I'm truly honored to have my dearest friend, colleague, and incredible supporter of the Lotus Health Foundation, Denise Stegall, as my very, very first guest.
Well,
Denise,
I'm honored.
oh, Denise has been a vital part of our wellness community, and her contributions as an MC at the past several annual events have been so invaluable. So, Denise, welcome. Please introduce
Hi, Meg.
yourself.
This is so fun to do with you. Thank you for allowing me to be your very first guest. So, hello, everyone. I'm Denise Stegall with Healthy Living with Denise. I'm a menopause mentor and longevity concierge. And yes, I am one of May's colleagues in lifestyle medicine. I'm always there to support her and the mission of providing information and education about lifestyle medicine and truly how we can make lifestyle our medicine. So, food before medication.
Well said, well said. I think I have thought about this long and hard because what would this podcast really set ourselves apart from the other already so many podcasts? And I think that, my goal is to create a space for people to talk about how we can all uh, build a very sustainable, healthy community. And truly is a whole spectrum of the wellness, not just one or or just a very specific items. So Denise, here I would like you to kind of share with our audiences about you, since you are a very avid speakers and also author of several books. I also heard your phenomenal presentation at Rochester Women's Roundtable. Well done, well done. You draw a lot of people's attention because you really speak to their heart. So, would you please share with us why you dedicate your effort and time to our annual Community of Wellness Symposium and Get Off in the past several years. Share us about that.
Absolutely. So, in my business as Living Healthy with Denise, my goal is to help women, and I always have to say, and some smart men too,
Hmm.
to live a healthy lifestyle that works for them without the stress and all of the noise that comes around with social media and
Hmm.
every time you read something, this is good for you, this is bad for you. So, what I love about the symposium is it really breaks it down to the simplest form. Nutrition, people think of nutrition and they get nervous. They're like, oh, I don't know what to eat. And with lifestyle medicine, we break it down to the simplest things, right? I talk in my book and with my clients, eat real food. Well, that's exactly what lifestyle medicine promotes, a plant-forward diet. Now,
Hmm.
we know when we look back in history, people were hunter-gatherers, well more than they were um, um, more gatherers than hunters, right? Right. It's amazing how history is now kind of trying to repeat itself, right? We're
Hmm.
trying to get back to the simple times. Now, granted, that part of history was very simple. You went out and had to find your dinner. Well,
Hmm.
here with lifestyle medicine, we're just telling people it can be simple. And I
Hmm.
love that because so many of my clients, when they come to me, They don't know what to do. They don't know what healthy food actually
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
because the labels on foods are very confusing.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I was in the supermarket the other day and I thought it was a hoot that there was I was walking by the meat department and there was this huge sign that said gluten free over the meat.
Really?
I kid you
Over
not.
meat.
It had to have been misplaced, but it was comical because people look at that and go, "Oh, it's gluten free. I'm gluten free. I
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be eating gluten, so this is good for me."
Yeah.
So labels can be very misleading. They can also be very confusing. There's so many different, for example, names for added sugars. And if it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't say sugar, people go, "Oh, there's no sugar in it."
Mm-hmm.
So when we go back to the symposium, we teach people simplicity. And lifestyle as medicine, I mean, that's something that was said thousands of years ago. Hippocrates said it. Like, make thy food thy medicine,
Right.
right?
Right.
Healthy food is thy medicine. And that is such a big part of what we promote the conference. And of course, all of the other pillars, there are 6 of them when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to lifestyle medicine.
Yeah. So since you bring up the 6 health pillars, so with Lotus Health Foundation, we call it a petal of a health. So we're talking about the nutrition, the constant movement, connectedness, um, restful sleep. Also, of course, we need to manage our stress, right? So with all this, and oh, one more purpose, we develop the sense of purpose, why we want to wake up and why we want to be healthy, right? So at this point, would you please also tell us about that your journey with healthy living with Denise? Like you also mentioned about the clients that you try to help them try to simplify it because I also experienced a lot of patients came to our clinic, they were overwhelmed. But when you listen to most of your clients, their concern, health concern is they have their common denominators, right? So would you please share with us about your journey with your
Sure. Well,
how you come up with your organizations?
absolutely. So, as all careers, it's been a crooked climb. Um, and it started my college degree is actually hotel restaurant business management with a focus in nutrition. So back when I was in college, I was feeding people. So that's really where it started. Along the way, I became a health coach, and that stage was really working more with people and weight loss. And I realized at some point, okay, there's so much more to weight loss
Mm-hmm.
than what you're eating. I mean,
Right.
it's a big part of it, obviously, but there's the
Mm-hmm.
mindset, there's the movement, there's the stress and the sleep. All of those pieces are
Mm-hmm.
essential for weight loss. If you're
Mm-hmm.
only focusing on one piece, you're missing really the whole the whole thing. You can only get so far focusing on what you're eating.
Right.
So that was when I basically started coaching. At one point, my niece, who was at the time 13, decided, she called me one day and she said, "Dee, I'm going to be vegan." And I went, "Okay, vegetarian?" And she's like, "No, vegan." And I thought to myself, at this point in my journey, I was plant forward, which is why I said to
Mm-hmm.
her,
Mm-hmm.
"Vegetarian?" And she said, and she was adamant. And I asked her why. And she said to me, "Dee, you know what? Both of my parents were athletes in high school and college, and they're both overweight."
Oh,
She didn't remember her grandfather ever actually walking because from
oh,
the time she was a baby, he was diabetic, he had heart problems, he was obese, and he drove around in a scooter. So she doesn't ever remember him walking. And she says, "I don't want to be like that."
mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, that's probably a good thing. And at 13, I thought it was incredibly insightful. And she called me because she knew that I would find a way to support her and help her. So
Mhm.
that's really where my journey into lifestyle medicine began,
Mhm.
was 10 years ago
Yeah.
when my niece decided to go vegan. And
Mhm.
there was really, she had no support. And she lives in New
Mm.
Jersey. I'm here in
Mhm.
Minnesota.
Mhm.
So I was her support. And
Wow.
together we learned.
Yeah.
Together, she taught her mom and her
Mhm.
family
Mhm.
lots of information.
Mhm.
Sometimes they just kind of poo-pooed her. But that's
Mhm.
really where I started to pay much more attention to lifestyle medicine when I then attended a conference. And so from there, my business and my career has expanded because that was the missing piece. All of the petals
Yeah.
really, at that stage, I realized that it wasn't a missing piece, that there were all of these other
Mm.
missing pieces. And we umbrella it under the word lifestyle.
Wonderful. I love the story. It's so beautiful. Especially um when you have someone um really desire to make some changes with the reason behind that, you help you help her or
Mhm.
anyone be very carefully take them to this journey and guide them, be there with them is so important because a lot of people they can be turned off with the wrong information or the impression that was not what they're looking for. Speaking of that, to inspire people how to help them move to their optimal health. Um, I would like, one question for you is like, when you work with your clients, every person is different, and we
Mhm.
know there's no one size fit all. So, how do you capture each person's say the strengths or their motivation to help them, inspire them, encourage them to be successful?
The first thing I do is we sit down and I want to know what's important to them. Like,
Mm,
what are their core values? Why do they want to have a healthier lifestyle?
mhm,
Is it because the doctor tell them they're pre-diabetic or
mhm,
because they're having sleep issues?
mhm.
Um, More often than not, it starts with, well, I want to lose weight.
Yeah.
And that's great. But even that is much deeper.
Mhm,
So I asked, well, why do you want to lose weight? Well, I'm pre-diabetic and I don't want to have to take medicine and I want to feel better. Okay, why do you want to feel better? Well, I want to have the energy to play with my grandkids. Um, Great. Why is that important to you? Well, they're only 2 and 3 right now, and I want to be there, at their high school and college graduations. So I ask a lot of questions to get really deep into the person's why. And all of our whys are different.
mhm,
And I would say 9 out of 10 times, it even surprises the client as I'm asking questions. And that's my job
mhm,
as a coach, to ask
mhm,
tough
mhm,
questions.
mhm,
But once the person starts to answer the questions,
mhm,
they're really surprised often as to what they reveal.
mhm, mhm.
So that's really where we start.
I really value that because that's exactly how we help our patients here. We know we ask them why they want to lose their weight, and there gotta be a reason, or we say that the goal that make them excited to move forward. So that can be a long-lasting journey or plan, sustainable plan for them. Now,
Exactly. This isn't a diet. It really is
mm-hmm,
a lifestyle change. And for
mm-hmm.
some people, that can be scary.
Mhm,
But once they start understanding how the pieces fit together
mhm,
and how much better they
mhm,
feel, how much more energy they have,
mhm,
how their sleep is positively
mhm,
affected. At some point they kind of step back and go, oh, this is kind of a no-brainer.
mhm,
I don't want to
mhm.
go back to
Right,
feeling the way I used to.
right, right. So, you know, it's, I'm going to kind of a loop. look back to the symposium, what is it and what that looks like, and is the progression of the program up until this year that we had a huge event. So, and you actually is one of the big contributor to the success of this event. So, Lotus Health Foundation's mission is to help the community people understand a sustainable way of a way to optimize their health. And then we already talked about the six health pillar. And there are so many ways that any entity, any business or individual can do one or two small steps at a time, and we can work on this beautiful concept every day as a community and to grow a beautiful community. And that is our concept. So since Rochester is a very well-known medical town, we feel like lifestyle medicine seems like a foreign term, not quite familiar with, to a lot of the people. And I'm so, so grateful that you are able to break it down to a very understandable terms and kind of use a couple examples to share with the people what that means and how we can apply to our daily life. So, um, so since 2015, we established a nonprofit, and we started the first community of wellness symposium and gala in 2017. And the purpose is to bring on the national well-known speakers. They are the experts of the lifestyle medicine, the plant-based nutrition, or we call it a plant-forward nutrition. So we want to encourage, inspire people, be able to take a smaller step. But also we connect these speakers with the local big hospital to conduct the grand round to share the information with the healthcare providers, because the healthcare providers they play very crucial role at the front line. They help patient, they deliver the right message, you give them the right guidance. So over a period of time, we feel like we need to make this event even bigger. And so 2000, this year we had the largest event, and you and another MC colleague, Ron Hansen,
Hi,
um,
Ron.
kind of a perfect pair together to help us elevate the event this year at the Mayo Civic Center. That was in mid-April. So, and then kind of a circle back to your original, kind of a study and your specialty in the food area. Well, now we talk about food as a medicine. We too are very picky about the food.
We really are.
Even though the food looks, what do you think about the food at a symposium and gala?
Okay, let me even go before that. First of all, May, I want to congratulate you on the symposium. Yes, you are the heart and soul, and Dr. Jeng too, but you guys are the heart and soul of the Community of Wellness Symposium. It would never happen without you. And you've been very fortunate to find great volunteers.
Mm,
So
yes,
I want to,
volunteer.
mention our volunteers because they've been great. People on the board of Lotus Health Foundation, so incredibly supportive. Um, and being part of the symposium since the beginning, I feel very fortunate to be part of this because I've seen how the program has grown and how people are understanding a little bit more what is this concept of
Mhm,
lifestyle medicine,
mhm, mhm,
and incorporating the grand rounds at Mayo Clinic is, I believe, one of the things that truly elevates for
mhm,
the speakers, but
mhm,
also for the physicians at the clinic, because
mhm,
lifestyle medicine isn't exactly the way we think of Western, modern medicine.
mhm. Yeah.
But when when we break it down, as you mentioned,
Mhm.
the modern medicine docs, those are those frontline people that the patients are going to because they have heart problems and
Mhm.
diabetes,
Yeah.
metabolic syndrome, all of these
Mhm.
challenges. And yes, there's tons of medications to
Mhm.
fix or, kind of control symptoms. Where in lifestyle medicine, and we talk about this through with the different speakers and presenters at the
Mhm.
symposium,
Mhm.
is lifestyle medicine gets to the root of the cause. It
Mhm.
really helps
Yes.
to cure the problem, not just fix the
Mhm.
symptoms,
That's
right?
right.
Years ago, I was suffering from headaches, and
Mhm.
I went to the doctor, and they sent me to a neurologist who wanted to give me an antidepressant.
Oh.
Really?
Mm.
It turned out that was still new to Rochester, and I was
Mm.
allergic to what grows here.
Wow.
So had I listened to traditional medicine, yes, they probably possibly it would have gotten rid of the headaches, but it would not have cured the
Mhm.
problem. It wouldn't have
Yeah.
gotten to the
Root
core part of
cause.
the problem.
Mhm.
And of course, knowing what I know at this stage in life, that, I didn't need medication, a ton of allergy medication, because I knew some of the foods that I was eating was actually contributing to
Oh.
the histamines and all of the other things that were causing these headaches.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
the what you have done with the program has it's amazing. I think we had over 200 people at the symposium this year, and each person was. I mean, I saw people like jotting down notes and
Yeah.
talking to speakers
Yeah.
afterwards. But one of you had asked me initially about the food at the symposium.
Yeah.
The food has always been good.
Uh-huh.
This year, the food was outstanding. It
Mhm.
was so good, everyone, that we started to run out because people were going back for
Yes.
seconds and thirds.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to credit to the chef, but you and I spent hours to come up with the recipe and recipe book. So we pulled together to see, how we can uh, kind of
Mhm.
plan a little bit based on the chef's suggestion. And also we have to consider the ingredient need to be kind of very popular because this is serve as a teaching purpose. Also need to be colorful because it's spring. We want to make it easy for people to learn and take home some skill set to practice at home too. So we actually reference these three recipe books from the speakers, and one specific recipe from OBGYN, Dr. Kraska. So the chef actually, they were very talented. They just put everything together. Even they create something out of the recipe. So they don't have the exact recipe to offer to us. Um, but the key is, I think I saw people's excitement, and I saw that we ran out of the food. It was a good problem to solve, right? And as of today, I don't know whether you have heard anybody say anything about the food, but I think even Monday I was cooking a meal at a Ronald McDonald House with a group of the volunteers, and two or three volunteers told me that well they run into so and so, they went to the symposium, and so many of them say, when are you going to have the next event? I'm coming back. The food is so good. So even though food is only one of the six health pillars, but it is so important because we need to rely on food to provide us the energy. But how do we turn the right food to be our energy instead of causing the trouble, right?
Right. And food brings people together. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's an important piece because when we do talk about lifestyle medicine, we do talk about nutrition first. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously that is important. If we're not eating the right foods, we're not going to survive. In the medical world, they talk about how a patient feels, functions, and survives. When I'm working with clients, I have tweaked that to how my client feels, functions, and thrives.
Mm-hmm.
This, in my opinion, my humble opinion, is where lifestyle medicine comes in, is we're not just helping people survive, we're helping people to thrive in life. And people will say, oh, life is short, have another piece of cake. There, we had cake at the symposium, everyone.
Yes.
It was a very delicious, healthy cake, but it
Yes.
was amazing.
Yes.
But
Yes.
life is not short. It's a long life. And the
Yes.
decisions that we make today are going to affect, this is me, the longevity concierge, coming out now. The decisions we make today are going to affect how we feel, yes, tomorrow and
Mm-hmm.
next week, but next year and in the
Mm-hmm.
next 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're already feeling kind of crappy and
Mm-hmm.
you're thinking, I'm going to feel this way for the rest of my life, why would you want to do that? You
Right.
wouldn't, right? So,
Right.
this is the simplest way for people to feel good,
Mm-hmm.
function properly. We talk
Mm-hmm.
about optimal health. And
Yes.
by that, it's the energy we have. It's, our clear mind. It's clarity of mind. It's being able to do the things we love to do, right? Moving
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
For some people,
Mm-hmm.
I've had clients who, they didn't move a lot in the beginning because they say, oh,
Mm-hmm.
well, I have this hip thing. Oh, I have this knee
Mm-hmm.
thing. And when they start to change their nutrition, but also start to move in a smart way,
Mm-hmm.
right? Don't, if
Mm-hmm.
you're 50 years old, don't be watching some 30-year-old um, personal trainer doing all sorts of
Mm-hmm.
things, because you
Mm-hmm.
are not her,
Mm-hmm.
right? We need to do things that are smart, and we need to move smart.
Mm-hmm.
And so the lifestyle piece, as I said, it's a long life,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to change with, with with the decade, sometimes, halfway through a decade.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really where lifestyle medicine can support a
Mm-hmm.
person.
Mm-hmm. I love the way that you describe the optimal health is also a way to help us function, be able to do what we enjoy to do, right? So we want to live a meaningful, productive, long life, right? We don't want to, at the end stage, and hook up the tubes that we didn't have any choice. So one thing I did observe, and since our subject is about the community wellness, and I think the event and the connection among all the board member, you are the board member, and the volunteers, what the planning process, it shows the support and the mentorship and also the connection together, and that really is the energy to help me and kind of push me. I want to do more. So during the event,
Actually, we want you to do less.
yeah, in some way. So speaking of the event, you are at the stage, on the stage all the time. And
I
now
am.
we are on the stage together, okay? And I actually was outside of the conference room most of the time because a lot of speakers and guests, they connect, and it was so fascinating to see a lot of speakers. They came from different area, and they learn from each other's talk. They connect together to spark some potential project together. I mean, this is just make me feel so happy about the connection among the speakers, so they feel the value coming to here, not just to give a talk and they left. So since you are inside the room all the time, what did you see, like the very unique characteristic that you normally don't find at the other conference?
So the thing that really stuck out to me, now I've been to several, okay, in my past life, I actually was a corporate meeting planner. So I've been to plenty of medical meetings, and they're very static. People read from their slides, they're very technical, and they're really boring.
Mm.
At our conference, it's my conference, I
Our
take ownership
conference,
too.
yes.
At the Community of Wellness conference, what I found was each of the speakers, so, we talk lifestyle medicine, and each speaker kind of was an expert in a different area.
Yeah.
They all had such great enthusiasm
Mm,
for their topic. To begin with, Dr. Dean and Aisha Shirzai. This was the first time I met them. And they came up and they had such great personality. And of course,
mhm,
they're married, so they had great connection to each other, and they could really play off of each other. And that was really fun because that brought the audience really pulled them into what they were saying. The audience wasn't just sitting there listening,
mhm,
to a talk.
mhm.
They were actively engaged
Oh,
in each of the presentations. Now, some of the speakers had a lot of sense, had a sense of humor.
yeah.
Some of the speakers had stories that we had never heard before and were just incredible stories of success. There was one of our speakers, his talk was something very different for a lifestyle medicine
Mhm,
conference, yet it was still so fitting because when we look at lifestyle medicine and we look at this conference, we're looking at whole body
mhm.
health, whole body
Yes.
wellness.
Mhm,
So the specific person I was talking about was the doctor who gave a talk on the lymphatic system.
yeah.
Well,
Dr.
that's not
Malin.
typically something you would think of. And
Yeah.
and the doctors who were sitting in the audience
Uh-huh.
were in awe because yeah, they kind of knew that information, but it was something that they did maybe in medical school a bunch of years
Mhm,
ago.
mhm.
And since it's not their area of expertise, they kind of forgot about it. And
Yeah.
so listening to the presenter really kind of sparked some
Mhm.
ideas.
Yeah.
And I know it sparked a couple of conversations
Yeah.
outside of the room.
Yeah.
So for me, really appreciated most was the energy that the
Mhm.
speakers brought and that the audience felt and gave back to the presenters. So it
Yeah.
wasn't only the presenters giving,
Mhm.
it was the audience giving back. And they had lots of questions and great comments.
Oh, wow. That really make me feel so, my heart is so full right now. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful the opportunity. I think that it's a safe place, a very comfortable place full of the positive energy for people feel comfortable to ask questions. Um, at this at this conference, we I have engaged with a couple of people before the conference, and they experience some challenges of their health in their life, and they say, "Come to this conference, and you won't regret." And they all were really appreciate the opportunity to learn about this, and they made new friends because to create a healthy community, you need to hang out with like-minded friends, right? So this is exactly what I am looking for, and I'm hoping that we can continue to grow, bigger community in Rochester and further expand to our surrounding state, which we also had several attendees, a physician, they came from different states, right?
Right. And I think it
Um,
is important to mention it again, to clarify to people, the community of wellness program is for, people, just regular people like you and
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Our patients, our clients, like our next door neighbors. This is the community that we live in. And so this is the community that we want to uplift.
Mm-hmm. So we can talk about this on and on for another day. It's
Yes,
so
we could.
it is so fulfilling that we have a conversation around this lifestyle and it's so meaningful. And we are here to create the space, the voice, allow people to share, um, their opinion, and also to share their challenges and be able to find the way to connect with the experts like you. Right, to have a great health coach is important to guide you the right direction. So this is exactly what we kind of foresee in the future. What's going to happen? We're going to invite um, like-minded health expert like you, one at a time, at this podcast. My
I think
friends,
it's
start with
great.
my friends.
start with your start with your friends, start with people who it I think it's important, with the work that you do in the community. There's so much more. Yes, the community of wellness is kind of the culmination of an entire year's worth of planning, but May, you do so many other things too, and I think it's important to mention. Every month you go and provide dinner at Ronald McDonald House here in Rochester. You have an amazing community garden
Mm.
that you've had for many, many years. Remind me, how many pounds of
Oh,
vegetables did we have last year?
3,200 pounds last year.
3,200
Yeah, more
pounds
than,
of food
yeah.
that you gave to the that you gave to the community.
Hmm.
So you are doing so many great things. I've taken the mic from you. I apologize.
You know,
You've done you're doing so many great things in in the community that and that are visible, that people are going to continue to come to you and want to know what how can they participate. And I think it's really important that you're doing this podcast for people who are local, people who are around the country and beyond, who are listening and thinking, you know what, I want to change my health, and May can help me do that.
oh, thank you so much. Well, I definitely would like to invite you back to our next few episodes. So please keep us in mind and come back to my guest again in the future.
Absolutely.
So Denise, this conversation has been truly, truly insightful, and I'm so grateful to have you as my first guest. So as we wrap up this episode, I hope our listener to feel encouraged to take those small, very meaningful steps forward. Do one thing at a time and truly love yourself. Whether there's a nutrition movement or even go out to talk to your neighbor, because you need to know your neighbor in order to build a healthy community, right? So we're going to start more conversation around this. So remember, wellness is not just a destination; it's a lifelong practice. And so let's move on the small healthy step at a time. Okay. Thank you so much for being our guest, the very first episode. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you for having me.
We'll see you sometime.